Albert Einstein said genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work. This is the Producer's Lounge podcast. That's actually one of my favorite quotes. It's on a poster right above my bed. This week we're a little rough around the edges because I was really tied up working on a budget and schedule for this one company. So I didn't have a chance to comb over this episode and edit it so it's as sheen of polish as it normally is. But our guest this week, Michael Kuciak, I hope I'm saying that right, Kuciak, has a fantastic story. He was Vice President of Development for a management and production company. He wore many hats, and today he runs his own company where he produces, he represents, he writes, he runs the whole gamut. He has done 2 features so far, The Shower and The Freezer. The Freezer starring Dylan McDermott and Peter Facinelli, and you got to check it out. You can see links to the trailers on our website. So we're going to go straight into it this week. Here now is my interview with Michael Kuciak.
Cheers. Hydration. So it was actually like purely by a coincidence that like another this writer I knew, he's living in a haunted house up in the hills somewhere.
A haunted house in the Hollywood Hills?
Yeah, well, and not Hollywood, like way out, like it's fucking, it's out there. You know what I mean? But it's this gigantic Victorian mansion, like this 3-level thing. It was originally built to be an orphanage in like 1895. So it's like,
oh shit.
Yeah, so it's like this massive Gothic. Like you look at it and you go, yeah, that's haunted, and it's like it's on like a compound where there's like other buildings and and it's like there's a pool and a fire pit and like everything else is like, and I mean there's like 10 people living there. He's like living in like one room.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, yeah, let's come out, let's barbecue, It's like, yeah, sure, I haven't seen this cat in a while. Swing by him, and I was like, yeah, let's take a look around your haunted house.
Maybe.
You never know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, according, I guess there's a woman who floats around on the 3rd floor, and
in the haunted Victorian mansion.
Yeah, and my buddy told me that he once woke up like in the middle of the night, kind of a thing, and he heard like 2 teenage girls speaking in Italian, like in the hallway outside. And, he didn't really give a lot of thought to it because, again, there's like a lot of people, living in the house, and they were always having visitors and
Right.
And, so he just kind of went back to bed. But yeah, come the next day, speaks to the owner of the place. No, there's no Italian girls here, but there were in the 40s because a lot of orphans from World War II came here. So, yeah, you might have heard a couple of ghosts talking. So...
That is creepy.
Yeah. It's just like, ciao, Espirita. It's like,
Oh, are you from LA originally?
No, I am from Chicago. Okay. I was born in. Are we doing this? Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I was born and bred in the north side of Chicago.
Uh-huh.
I am in fact a failed musician. It was my first intention to be a rock star, and I played bass in punk rock bands, and I ran a little record label out of my basement, called Bufo Marinus Records, and released a couple of things and played a million shows, and at the time it was kind of when Chicago was blowing up a little bit, and I was like, Ray, it's gonna be the next Seattle. And everyone's gonna get signed, and yeah, it just kind of didn't quite. And but still kept playing in the band. But I decided it's like, well, now it's time to, just on the off chance, the microscopic chance I don't become a rock star, I should have a backup plan. But I'm unfortunately not. I have a spring broken. I'm not suited personality wise to like 9 to 5.
Right.
Normal people jobs. Like there's ants and there's grasshoppers. I was kind of born to be a grasshopper. And so I was like, well, what is like one thing that I could do? And it's like, well, I guess I'll go to film school.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like literally like
So wait, Bufo Marinus was back when you were 18?
No, I'm 40 now, so it's just like we're talking about like 97. You know, it was at 97, 98. I graduated from Columbia College in 1. I came out here in 2. You know, and it took me a while to graduate because ironically enough, I worked production while I was in Chicago. I was a PA, I was a grip.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it was whatever got me on a set, I did. You know, it was extra. Props, whatever. You know, it's like, oh, you pay me $100 to hang out and shoot stuff. Then yes, I'll do that. You know, so it's like it was Johnny on the spot, and I kept leaving to do school to do projects. So I actually tell you, it took me like a really long time to. I finally graduated. I'm like, you know, I'm glad that I actually went down that road because I realized that it's like I'm day playing in a city that's not, you know, LA or New York is, you know, it's feast and famine. It's you know, hooray, check for $2,000, and then it's like, you know, the next month you're just like, I have no idea how electricity is going to get paid. You know, so it's like, yeah, I learned before I even got my film degree that I wasn't going to be able to stay in Chicago. You know, so what are you going to do? So graduated. I had a conversation with my dad at the time. I'm like, what am I going to do? And it's like, well, if you got to go to LA, then you got to go to LA. So off to LA I went.
What experience from running Bufo Marinus did you learn the most from?
Oh, you know, it's interesting that you touch on that because, you know, for a while, it's very easy to be regretful about the time that you put into a career path that doesn't work out. In my case, music. You know, just like, oh my goodness gracious, if I had only come out to LA in '97, you know, think of all the things that I coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know, I mean, if I stayed in Chicago for as long as I did, you know, blah blah, this, that, everything else. But that aspect of music, you know, taught me that it really does come down to results, and it comes down to hustle. You know, I mean, digging into that level of and the business side of an entertainment, you know, it strips away like the airy fairiness. You know, kind of the floaty, like I'm an artiste. Yes. You very swiftly take off your beret. You know, I mean, it's like you put down the clove cigarettes. You know, you start. You know, it's like the entire thing. It's like, but it's like, and I'm glad that I went to Columbia too because of the 3 film schools in Chicago, that was by far the more nuts and bolts. You know, because it's like a lot of people go to school or they study, you know, film and and you're sitting around watching rules of the game and you're talking about mise en scène and it's really easy to get into it's easy to forget that it's still a business that is run by professionals. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's money to be made. It's just like, you know, and by that I mean it's like if you're actually serious about this, then you will start to pursue it in such a way that you're setting aside your cutesy little artistic vision and going, well, how do I actually make something that will sell, that in turn the audience will buy? You know what I mean? And it's like, and that doesn't circumvent the artistic nature of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's just the idea of wetting the show in the business. And I was, you know, given the, you know, I was able to set aside that regret by realizing that I spent that 4 years, you know, learning that very core concept, you know. So by the time I actually did come out here, you know, I didn't, you know, fuck around for years, you know, jerking myself off that I'm like, well, you know, I'm this artiste and and this, that, everything else. It's like, you know, I came out straight out like, how do I get a gig? Yeah. How do I pay the rent doing this? You know, it's like, no, we're not gonna wait tables and kind of noodle with it on the side. It's like, no, we're gonna show up and it's time to put on the hard hat. Right. You know, so, you know, the 4 years wasn't wasted. Oh no, I even back when, even back in film school, my more foo-foo-y, you know, classmates would actively make fun of me, you know, because I was like, well, I mean, you know, who's the audience? You know, I would say stuff in class like, well, who's the audience for this? Yeah. Like, who are you going to sell that to?
Who wants to see this?
Yeah, I'm just like, which studio is going to make that? Yeah. And it's like, what do you mean, which studio? What do you think this is, product? It's like, well, I mean, if you write $100 million sci-fi thing, then on a certain, well, you have to figure out where the $100 million is coming from.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and just the idea that they would deign to even think in those terms was worthy of mocking me. You know, but I mean, flash forward a decade, and who's waiting tables and who's got a production company. Exactly. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's not a case of Schadenfreude. It's just a case of being realistic about the real world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, once I was talking to this guy, and he was like, well, I guess I'll write, you know, I went to school for directing, and that was my thing, and with a minor in writing. I actually kind of fell backwards into producing, but I'd already gained a temperament for it, so, and it wasn't like I guess I'll produce now. And it was like, oh no, I get this. And so it's like, but yeah, I remember I used to have conversation with like one guy was like, well, I suppose I can write my low budget thing that will just kind of sell, and you know, that's how I'll get my start. I'm like, well, low by what? He was like, well, you know, maybe we'll get like we'll make it for like $1 million or something like that. I'm like, well, do you have $1 million? Where are you gonna get that $1 million? Like, you realize that you have to go ask a dude for $1 million, right?
Yeah.
it's like
And then the favorite one I had was I was in film school, and everyone joked that I, being the producer, I was going to make a certain type of movie. And eventually this whole franchise came out of the conversation, where it's going to be Richard Tucci presents Demon Lesbian Assassins.
Ah, funny. That's funny. Yeah, I remember. It's funny because you know, in the minds of film student, many you know, I realize I'm painting with a wide brush, but you know, in the minds of a lot of both film students and civilians, you know, the producer is just kind of this mythical person, usually like a fat Jewish guy with gold chains,
smoking cigars.
Yeah, smoking cigars and going, "Yeah, kid, I'm gonna put your name in lights." You know, it's like, you know, this extremely, and you know, this guy who was just kind of gonna go, you know, oh, I'm gonna make your movie for you. It's like, yeah, it's like you can tell that, like, you know, especially the thought process behind a lot of terrible screenplays that I read all the time is that, you know, it's just like, well, you know, as long as you fart out about 100 some odd pages of screenplay, that you know, then you know, some dude will show up at your front door, you know, whisk you away in the limo, you know, to Hollywood, and, you know, to be feted by movie stars, and, you know, and everyone's gonna go, oh, you're so brilliant, you're so great, you're such a genius. And that's the job of the town. That's the job of the industry, is to make you feel wonderful. And the producer's job is to help you prove to the world that, you know, you were right to do this stupid film thing when everyone else made fun of you. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, no, it's like it's I would say producing is far closer to it's an amalgam between professional sports and wildcat oil drilling. You know, I mean, it's kind of.
I've never heard this expression, wildcat oil drilling.
Well, you know, it's the idea that, like, you do as much research as you can to figure out where some oil is, but in order to drill it, you have to spend a gigantic pile of money to get the the machinery to drill it. And you know what? If you don't get oil, then too bad. You know, it's like, I would throw in real estate too. Real estate is very analogous. You know, and it's just like, you know, why do some movies get made for $1 million and others for $100 million? It's like, well, you know, it's like land development. You know what I mean? It's but in the case of producing, instead of physical dirt, the land is upon the zeitgeist of the general audience.
That is the most insightful thing I've ever
heard. Goodness. It's like,
nice.
Spend a lot of time, like, just sitting around just thinking of what is this? What is? Why do people do this, and how is it done? You know, it's like, because there's like a lot of mythology to it, but it's very easy to go forest for the trees. You know, and it's like at core, what are we doing? You know, it's like, there it is. That's producing. I will give you the nutshell version of this strange, epic, and stupid story.
Okay.
So I'm living in a house, and it's time for me to go to LA. And I decide that everything that is going to... And I buy a van. It's a second-hand electrician's van. I yank out the toolbox. Or the toolboxes, rather. And I'm like, okay. Everything that fits in the van is coming with me. Everything that doesn't isn't. You know? So I'd gotten to a stage in my life in which I was no longer interested in material objects. Because I had a house, it was full of furniture, you know, I had a car, I had a girlfriend, you know, it was family, friends, an entire life was there. And to leave it behind, I felt that it had to be a scorched earth situation. I didn't want to, if I was going to drag along anything with me, then it was going to be a bare minimum. Anyway, that's just preamble to see where this is going.
Okay.
So, put the house up for sale, it sells. Everything that's in the house, if you know, I sell as much as I can, give away as much as I can. After that, it's just like I'm just gonna leave it there, and anybody wants it, takes it. I load up the van, and I say my goodbyes, and I start driving. And it is the midst of a horrible windstorm, and I got a late start because it took me a while to say all my goodbyes, and I got a late start, so it's like night. And I don't know if are you familiar with Illinois as a state?
No,
as a geographical region. Illinois is a vast flat sea of corn with little islands of civilization in the midst of it. Like Chicago is the largest island, you know what I mean? But but I mean it's for the most part it's just farm. It's flat and it just goes on as far as the eye can see.
Okay.
And so I'm driving along, it's night, the van is buffeted by the wind. And I'm seeing this as a test of the gods of Hollywood of my convictions. I'm shaking my fist in the air. I'm just like, you can't stop me! You can't stop me!
It's like Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump.
Exactly.
You won't sink this boat!
Yes, exactly. You can't stop me! And then I get about 300 miles south of Chicago, and I hear a clunk!
Oh, boy.
And smoke pours out of the hood. And then I see the flicker of like a flame underneath the hood. And I'm like, oh my god! The van's on fire! And the cabin starts to fill. There's smoke. I can smell smoke. Oh my god! And so I stop the van, and it stops anyways. It's like, you know, but it's coming up over my windshield like I got shot down over London. And I pull over to the side of the road, and I jump out, and I've got like a spare gas can in the back. So I'm just like, and so I run. I throw open the back doors. I grab my bass guitar. I grab the spare gas can, and I run about 100 yards down the road to stand there and see if my van is going to explode or not. And it doesn't. But I'm obviously not going anywhere. And it's like, you know, the middle of the night in Illinois, in the middle of Illinois, is you're on the dark side of the moon. You know what I mean? There's nothing there. Nothing. There are no lights. There are no sounds. And because it was stormy, there were no stars. It was pitch blackness. And in the midst of nothingness. And I had nothing but... And I put down the gas. I had nothing but my bass guitar. And luckily, a state trooper came by. And we got a tow truck. Got the guy out of bed. Tow truck to Mattoon, Illinois. Are you familiar with Mattoon, Illinois?
No.
Okay. It's a smaller town. And ordinarily, and they have 3 big hotels because it's on an interstate. And ordinarily, you would think that it would be really easy for me to find a hotel room in Mattoon, Illinois at like midnight on a Wednesday or whatever the hell it was. And no, there was actually a marching band competition passing through at that day. There was like, I had to go to all 3. I found the last available. I was like, there's every possibility I'm going to have to sleep in this van. I find the last one there, the last hotel room, and I gladly take that. And the next day, tow truck driver also is a mechanic. Yeah, guess what? Sorry, dude, the van's not going anywhere. What are you gonna do? So I sell him the van and everything in it, because there's no way for me to transport it.
So you literally are in the middle of nowhere, Illinois.
Yeah, I'm
with
just
a
like
bass guitar and a spare gas can.
Yeah, I gave him the gas can too.
Okay.
So it's like I literally and from there it was like it's another epic tale. But the long story short is when I got to LA, it was about $500, my bass guitar and the clothes on my back. Yeah, I stopped at my parents on the way and the entire thing. But it was still I kind of got my wish. Even the few things that I tried to bring out with me were taken from me, by the journey. So it's like I came here with nothing but, I don't know, the eye of the tiger, I guess. And my bass. And my poor J bass, which still sits in the corner.
You're now stranded in the middle of Los Angeles, cutthroat city that it is. What do you do?
Well, I wasn't stranded in Los Angeles. My parents live in Arizona. I stopped there, but it wasn't. I didn't show up like a lot of people when they move to Los Angeles. It's like they come out here with their significant other. They've got a big plan. They have friends. They bring an apartment's worth of stuff in a U-Haul, and they get an apartment and a lot of this, everything else. And it's like, no, when I came to LA, I had like about $500. I had my bass, and I was like sleeping on the floor next to this dude's drum kit. And it was my girlfriend at the time's brother slept next to his drum kit on the floor. And looked for a place, found a place, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and you start, scratching and clawing, but it's like, I was at the time I was also reading a lot of Sun Tzu, and I felt that I had been put on a death ground. The idea that you fight hardest when your back's against the wall. You know what I mean? So it's just like in kind of a weird way, like it didn't scare me. I'm just like, this is exactly what I need to do. This is exactly the situation where I need to be to just fight as fucking hard as I'm gonna. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's kind of like the same mentality that helps me get through like rockier patches, where just like, this discomfort exists to make me fight harder. You know what I mean? It's not here to make me feel bad. It's here to go, get your ass up. You know what I mean? It's the most comfortable couch in the world is not sat on if it's on fire. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really easy to just sit on the couch and watch football and do nothing. But if that motherfucker catches on fire, then you get up and you're running around, you're doing stuff. You see what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, trouble, discomfort, hardship. All those are they're our friends. They're demons. They're angels in the forms of demons.
Wow, that's a hell of a wow.
Well, that's me moving to LA. It's like
and then how long do you feel until you felt like I'm acclimated? Los Angeles is my home now.
Almost, I would have to say the first day I woke up and I looked outside and it was sunshine on a palm tree. I'm just like, yeah, I got here. But the van couldn't stop me. She couldn't stop me. Because I don't get me wrong. I'm born and bred Chicago. I still have a ton of very close friends and family there. XYZ. But I never 100% felt like I belonged. There. I don't watch sports.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit how fast my car goes. Just like a lot of things that a lot of people were really interested in Chicago, I just couldn't figure out. And and at the end of the day, I just couldn't get like steady paying work there. Like a lot of times I would be on a set and just out of curiosity, I would ask people, I'm just like, why haven't you moved to New York or LA? And that wasn't me being a dick. I was honestly gathering information. I'm just like, if there's a reason to stay in Chicago, then please tell me what it is, so I can compound on that reason. See what I mean? And consistently, I always heard the same reasons. It was always, well, New York, it's all about who you know. And in LA, like, all those people are plastic, man. They're all really surface level. Here in Chicago, we're doing some real work, man. And it's just like, and I moved out here, or actually what happened was I visited here, and, I kind of met some people, and I'm just like, no, that's actually bullshit. Yeah. It's like, because LA is full of people who have they've put all their chips on the table. It's full. This is an entire industry run by people who have said, no, I'm going to put every chip that I've got on the table. I'm just going to pick up. I'm going to go there. I'm going to give it a shot. You know what I mean? And you don't find that level of courage from the people who stay home. You see what I mean? And I don't get me wrong. It's not for everybody. Cause I've known people who have come out here and then they go back to where, Chicago, Minnesota, wherever. And it's kind of no harm, no foul, because it is really hard. And if it's causing you unhappiness, then yes, go, please. Be happy in your life. But like I said, I've got spring broken. And it's just like, in Chicago, I was this, goofy guy who likes movies a lot. Plays bass in a punk rock band. I'm like, out here, I was a skilled professional. It's like the yellow sun. You know what I mean? It's like...
How long did it take you to find your first gig in LA?
About a week.
Whoa.
Long story short is I got online and I immediately started looking for internships because at the time, I still wasn't thinking about producing. I was thinking about writing and directing. Ultimately directing, but I realized I'm like, I can't direct every day, but I can write every day. And I had started writing screenplays back when I was in school, and I had heard that your scripts get at a saleable level of quality after you write about 10 or 12. And so what I decided, I'm just like, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to write the first 12 really fast. And so I just got into, like weirdly enough, I was like, I'm just going to get those 12 out of the way, and I'll sell number 13. Bada bing!
That's math for you.
Yeah, baby. Exactly. I'm just like, come on, man. It's like, that's how it's done, right?
Okay,
like,
tell me what your 12th script was about then.
Oh, I forgot, but I got into I just got into the habit of writing every day, and not being precious about words, just churning out pages. Like a lot of times I'll sit there, I'll do 5, 7, 10, 12 pages, and then the next day, I erase a lot of them because it's just stream of consciousness bullshit. But it's just like, it's like, if you get like 2 or 3 pages out of 10, that's 2 or 3 pages more than 0. You know what I mean? So it's like, which is what a lot of people write.
Good writing is about rewriting.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, I just got into, thanks to that idea that I had in film school, that thing that I had heard, I just got into the rhythm of just like, I just write and write and write, and I do it every day. It's like, Christmas, my birthday, whatever. And I still do that to this day. I write like 2, 3, 4 scripts a year. It's like, it's like, just bang, 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 bang. And it's like, and doing that much writing also elevates your craft. But anyway, so I was just like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm in LA. I want to direct, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my way into the director's chair. So I've written all these scripts, and everybody can. If I'd stay in Chicago, I could just send out query letters like everybody else. Joe Bag of Donuts can send query letters, but man, I'm in Los Angeles now. What can the dude in Los Angeles do that the dude in Chicago or wherever can't? And it's like, aha, hang out with agents and be their friends. And then I'm not just a query letter, I'm Mike down the hall. And then, Mary Mother of God, that's how it's going to happen.
Okay.
So I get an internship at the Bruce Brown Literary Agency.
Okay.
And in Westwood, it was right at the school there. And the feature agent, it was kind of a boutique back when boutiques still existed. Were very prominent.
Who were some of their more prominent clients or scripts that they wrote?
Their A-list hitter dude was James Manos Jr. at the time. And he's the guy... at the time, he was a huge rock star because he had written the Emmy Award-winning episode of The Sopranos called College.
Okay.
And they had other people selling other things and blah blah. But he was kind of like their rock star. He was their the guy that they had kind of built up their get, And every once and like I'm like, okay, so because he was their client, I'm just like, this is how I'm going to do it. It's like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to read all of James Manos Jr.'s scripts. All of his feature scripts, all of his TV scripts. I'm going to learn from guys who are doing what I want to do. Okay. So it's like, So I just sit there, and my actual task as an intern I was the coverage monkey for Dave Brown, who's still a manager around town. Mm-hmm. And ironically enough, I have a 6 degrees of separation with him on another project I'm working on right now. Yes. He would come in. Here's a stack of scripts, and I would sit there and read. And I'd never done coverage before in my life, mm-hmm. but you figure it out. And I'll tell you, there's no better way to learn script than to do exactly what I was doing, which was coverage, which is where you not only read a script and you think about it, but then you have to compose those thoughts mm-hmm. in such a way that you write it down in a way that someone will also understand. You know what I mean?
Not only that, but in a specific tone of light, because when I approach coverage, I was immediately chastised. The first two I wrote. The first one I wrote when I was high on acid, so that didn't. The second piece of coverage I wrote was I did all of the the first person. I feel this doesn't work for me. When in reality, coverage needs to be written from the audience will not agree. A director will not sign on to it. This studio might not agree with it, but this other studio might. Right,
and see, that's kind of the thing too. Is by approaching it from a third person place, mm-hmm. you approach it from a dispassionate place. Mm-hmm. What you do is you unplug. In order to do that well, in order to do notes on a screenplay well, you have to unplug yourself from the experience, which is where you want to go, because you're an audience member, mm-hmm. Of a mental movie that the script is playing in your head, mm-hmm. and like an audience member, you want to have emotional reactions to things, and what you have to do is you have to say no. Mm-hmm. We're gonna pop the hood. We're gonna look at this like it's an engine. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then when we put the hood down, we're gonna look around. We're gonna look at the spreadsheets and go, who's gonna buy this car? Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? And it's from that way. It's like when you start applying that to your own projects, that ironically enough, that was kind of the next step in my mental journey to producing as well. Mm-hmm. Because so I was doing coverage, and when I wasn't doing coverage, I was reading scripts by people who were better and more successful than me. Mm-hmm. It's like you can. The other major difference between LA and Chicago too is Chicago is still in the Midwest, and there's very much if you mention out loud that you think you're good at anything, then obviously you're full of yourself. You're this arrogant guy, blah blah. Oh, now Mr. Hollywood thinks he's a genius now, and it's just like. Whereas in LA, it's just like, because it's more of a job, it's a craft. Like you actually can kind of go, well, I've got some chops, but there's always someone out there who's better. So it's just like you keep finding rabbits to chase. You know what I mean? It's like, mm-hmm. onward and upward. Yeah. But I did that, and funny little story. Mm-hmm. Of course, in the course of it, this is my master evil plan. The whole mm-hmm. time I'm just like, yeah, I've written some scripts. Yeah, I got some screenplays around. Mm-hmm. Finally, Dave comes in and he's just like, hey, Mike, I hear you've got some screenplays. I'm like, yes, I do. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what? Next time you come in, why don't you bring in a couple of your scripts, and we'll go out to lunch. We'll talk about your career. So
how long have you been interning there before this conversation happened?
Maybe a month or two.
Okay.
I'm just like, yeah. So I'm just like, yes, I'm going to land on LA like a nuclear fucking bomb. It's like I've been here for 30 days, dude. So I walk in. Also at the time, I had a script that had actually gotten like nibbles of interest called Action Figure, and at the time, Action Figure was my header script. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so it's like, yeah, bring in Action Figure. We'll take a look, la la. And so I'm just like, hooray! And I'm calling my parents. I'm like, I'm going to get an agent. And I come walking in. I've got my valise, and it's full of scripts, and smile on my face. And I'm like, I'm here. And everyone's like, yeah, Mike, we're actually closing doors. So, yeah. And so, instead of going out to lunch with a real-life Hollywood agent to talk about my career, I helped to defrost the refrigerator, and so it's like, and then just kind of split, and it's like, but again, I thought, there are a lot of things that in film and in this life that you decide if they beat you. Mm-hmm. It's like is this enough? This sucks, but at the same time, does it suck because it actually sucks, or does it suck only because I had this thing in my head and I didn't get the thing in my head? You know what I mean? And it's just like I didn't get the thing in my head, so I'm just saying is this enough to like beat me? I'm just like, no, I'm not beaten. And what the fuck? And so it's like, but that internship. I immediately started fighting. What I did was I went home and I bought the Hollywood Creative Directory. Mm-hmm. And I said I had the idea that what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to now fax is one of is 02, so there were still faxes. I'm going to fax my resume to every single company for the next 26 days. Every day will be another letter. Uh-huh. And on day 1, it's going to be A's. Day 2, it's going to be B's. And I'm going to do this until I find a job.
And for those who are not aware, the Hollywood Creative Directory is a very thick book.
Yeah, so it's like, but once again, the gods of Hollywood smiled down upon their favorite son because I was offered a gig as a creative executive at HD Entertainment International.
Oh, you creative executive?
Yeah. And
from intern to creative executive.
Yeah, because it was a small it was a small shop, so I'm
really impressed.
That
never. Yeah.
No, and again, it was like 5 people in the office, so it's like it wasn't like, well, first you have to defeat these other 17 people in delivering our coffee. It's like, they're like, yeah, all right, sure, you're CE, poof, done. And so it's I went and they didn't pay me very much, but I'm just like, fuck it. I am now officially paying my rent thanks to my Hollywood job.
How did you phrase that in the? I'm sorry to dwell on this, but I gotta ask, how did you even phrase that to say, hire me as a creative exec?
Oh well, my cover letter actually got me the gig. They had actually offered the gig to someone else, and then they got my cover letter and met with me, and then they called her up and said, I'm sorry. So out there's a karmic debt floating around with my name on it, but, what are you going to do? It's Hollywood. So, and I was mean and hungry. I'm just like, shit, I don't care, I'm going to take your job. But it was, Ken is very Asian file kind of dude, and to this day, I still, on an almost daily basis, I read from a book called Hagakure. Mm-hmm. And it was actually Hagakure that had given me the idea to move out here. To kind of spiel a little bit backwards, I saw a movie called Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai.
With Forrest Whitaker, right?
Yes, yeah. Directed by Jim Jarmusch, who at the time was one of my favorite directors because I love Dead Man. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, that sounds like they keep quoting from this book Hagakure. I think I'm going to look at it. And, just for fun. It's like, yeah, a cool movie, maybe it's a cool book. And I found a copy for like $9 at Barnes & Noble. Mm-hmm. And, dude, literally, I read that book and I got to the end of it and I put it down. I'm just like, yep, we're going to Hollywood right now. I'm going to give away all of my material possessions, and I'm going to go to Hollywood right now. Oh my God. And I began that process, like after putting that book down. Uh-huh. So it was also like, that, and I was watching Fight Club a lot too, and it was just like between Hagakure and Fight Club, I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't care about the house anymore. I don't care about material things. I only care about things that are immaterial, which ironically enough, I want to get material things, but I want to make my rich and famous contract, but by pursuing, what I had to offer, so it's like, so yeah, out I came, and so anyways, I get this gig, and it's not much, but holy cow, it's paying the rent, and not much beyond that. I was dirt poor for so long, and it's like, and I'm still not a millionaire by any stretch of the imagination. It's like, but it was like, at that time it was like, pay rent, I've got like $17 left over, and it's like, so it's like
ramen
again. It's scratching and clawing, and but it's like, I didn't come out to Hollywood to to immediately become a millionaire. If it was only about money, I would stay in Chicago and become a lawyer or something. I came out here to do this. So it's like, I didn't care. I'm just like, I'm spending like 10, 12 hours a day, like reading scripts and, going to meetings. And again, it's like, every opportunity I have to meet with someone who, is smarter than me, knows more than me. Cause and the more that I could absorb, the better, the more I could do. And, Hagakure also tells us that, you will never meet a perfect person because people are not perfect. But what you can do is you can look at the people's strengths around you. You know what I mean? It's like, this person is very smart. This person works very hard, And thereby you can actually kind of create in your own mind a perfect person to which you can, strive to be. You see what I mean? So it's like, you want to be, all right, well, that guy's kind of an idiot, but man, he works really hard. So I'm going to work as hard as the hardworking idiot. But this guy's really smart. So I'm going to try to be as smart as the guy, but he's kind of lazy. So I'm not going to try to be like this guy or that guy. I'm going to wonder twin powers activate. You know what I mean? And then that's how you try to strive to advance yourself in life and your career. It's like, and so it was like, the more people I met, the more, opportunities I had to kind of build that kind of puppet in my head. I'm going to try to be this. I'm going to try to do that. And along the way, I was there for about 7 years. And I was a development guy. And I went from CE to eventually senior vice president of development. And they like to pay me in titles rather than actual money, So it was like
so the pay stayed the same.
Yeah, the pay. I got little upticks here and there, but it was like it was still 7 years of like always a struggle. It was always, and and again, it gave me the opportunity. It was like to suddenly my job was to like just start hustling scripts all day. I became the hustle for the company. I mean? We're just like, here's a script, see what we can do with it. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, and it wasn't because it was a management production company. And also the company actually started in books. So we were one of the few shops in town that actually handled like books. And like a lot of times like agents would call us up and be like, yeah, my client wrote a book. I don't know what to do with it because I don't sell books. And we were able to like take out books by people who had were writing for TV shows, but they never written their book before. Their lit agent didn't know what to do with it. Handed it off to us. Yeah, you guys know what to do with the book? Yeah, sure. We'll run around with it. And so it's like so it's half hustling screenplays, half developing. It's like one day I'm editing a novel. The other day I'm on the phone. I'm trying to bang out a spec around town. The next day, we're meeting with directors because we're trying to pull a package together, and always, it's chasing financing. Always, because it's like, films are either financing the cast or cast to financing. It's like there's like one.
The awful catch-22. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, well, and it's like I'm just a kid from Chicago. I don't hobnob with movie stars, but I can chase money. And so whereas there are other people who are just like, they can get Bruce Willis on the phone, and like that's how they get movies made. And it's like, we got Bruce, give me $50 million. I'm not that guy. But it's like, but I can. But I do develop material and pull together, a plan, and it's just like, would you like to invest in this movie? It's like, it's, so I come into it from like really nuts and bolts kind of, it's like, is this a movie that can exist in the real world and has a clear path to ROI? It's like, it's that's the thought process behind it. So it's like, when I first started being a guy who shopped scripts, like I would just go purely by my taste. I'm just like, script makes me laugh, and if it makes someone else laugh, then hey, movie. And these days it's like I've developed like extremely specific paradigms in terms of like the price. And it's like and again, you always want to have your kind of side list of like science projects. Like I still have projects that are just like I know they're tough sells, they're just gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's just like, Script makes me laugh. I know. It's a teen comedy and it's period. I know. La la la. But
it's a teen comedy set in the Victorian age. What's wrong with
that? Yeah, exactly. It's like I can hear the passages in my head. I know that there are problems. It's like, but that's why these days, like if I show something around town, it's because I no longer back in the day I would just kind of bang something out and see what happened. And these days, it's like I'm still not averse to taking something wide, but I just in turn, I've just become way more choosy because it's like, I don't want to be imagining the passes. I want to be imagining this is how it fits. I think the first rule of sales is you ask people what they want to buy and then you sell it to them.
Oh, I did that all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like. And it's like you talk to the execs, you talk to the people who can get something up a ladder, and it's like, what are you looking for? And it's like, well, in that case, I will go and find that. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't have that within hand, you just kind of file that and you go, oh, you're looking for one of those. And so if you trip over one of those, that's like, aha, sold to the American. But it's like you always still want to have your percentage of just like goofball stuff because if it becomes all nuts and bolts, then it's very easy to grind it up into. Again, it's why are we doing this instead of real estate? Real estate would be a lot easier. It's like this is tough as hell. It's like there's got to be some reason that we're doing this. You know
what's really easy money? Cocaine.
Yeah. In my capacity as senior vice president of development, we set up projects. We try to pull at studio level. We work to pull together projects at the independent level, and it was just like, in terms of like, it was kind of one half indentured servitude, but it was also one half like master's class, and that isn't to imply that I'm like a genius expert and I know everything. That would be the furthest from the truth, but it was like it was such an eclectic job, that I felt like and again, it was a small shop and we were always doing like a bit of this, a bit of that, so it ironically enough, it became very similar to both Bufo Marinus and when I was a day player in Chicago. It's just like whatever can get us closer to a movie, we're gonna go do that. So it's like one day you're hustling a book, the other day you're hustling a script, the other day you're hustling directors, la 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 la. For a while we're doing location management. We had like a wave studio in Louisiana. I'm banging on the phone and I was like,
wave studio in Louisiana?
Yeah, they built it for the Guardian and we were managing it for a while. So it's just like Mike, we need to drum up some business. So it's just like, all right, I put on the location guy. And suddenly I get kind of like dunked into the business of location scouting.
Okay.
So it's like poof, done. It's like, okie doke, here we go.
First, how did all these, and granted it's over 7 years, so a lot can happen in 7 years.
Yeah.
But how did all of these wide net of things come under one company, whether it was books or spec scripts or development or wave studio location managing in Louisiana?
Well, it was, I think a percentage of it was survival because it was, again, it was a boutique level company, just like Bruce Brown. And during those 7 years from 2002 to 2009, because the economy on one side and also just the changing nature of the industry on the other, I want to say like 80 to 90% of the companies that were like kind of our size, just like 4, 5, 6 people in a little office, just withered and died, or else they got snapped up, or else and it's like, so it's like I figured out a long time ago that the most significant strength that you can have in anything that you do, but especially film, is flexibility. If it's like the companies that are like, this is what we do to make money, and we do nothing else. And you might be able to like very specifically like own like the dominant market share of that particular but if the business changes, then you would either adapt or die. And I think that in a weird kind of a way, being in that situation where it's just like every month we're figuring out how do we keep the doors open, how do we do it, it's like, what can we do, And it's like, I mean, just that, I mean, again, kicking and scratching and clawing and biting, you know, kind of way of approaching it. And then it's like, and not taking anything off the table. And it's like, and like, weirdly enough, I honestly feel like, because we not only had that kind of business model, but also that kind of business mentality, it will also, you know, kept our doors open, allowed us to survive, and allow, you know, and also, like, I've kind of come out the other end of that, you know. And we're still in like this revolutionary place in the industry, like you know, for the first time in 100 years, like extremely core aspects of our industry are changing. You know, I mean, especially over the past decade. And it's like, I think that
in what ways?
For 100 years, film was basically like a stage play, in which we are going to put a thing on a screen in this room, and if you want to sit in the room and watch the thing on the screen, then you're going to buy a ticket, and then you get to go inside and sit and maybe eat some popcorn, and then you watch the thing on the screen, and then you leave. 100 years of that, you know what I mean? And now it's it's almost quaint. It has become, you know, the theatrical experience is swiftly going in the direction of the LP, in which it's still superior. It is a record is still the best way they can listen to a song, but it's becoming incredibly more specialized. And it's like, you know, the reason that a lot of people piss and moan and they tear their hair over why are all Hollywood movies about explosions and robots during explosions, la la. It's like, because they're playing to the strengths of that form, because you have to get people into that theater, and they need, you know, and you know, the exhibitors don't see themselves in competition with stage plays or television. They're in competition with like sporting events. You know what I mean? It's a thing to do on the weekend. You know what I mean? And it's like, I you know, don't get me wrong, there's still like a specialty, la la, but it's like, yeah, in art house theaters, you know, everyone loses their minds. Hooray, we made $100,000. You know, that's a huge hit. You know, it's like, it's you know, and they're battling piracy. You know, it's like, you have to give people a reason not to pirate something. And that's why you have 3D. That's why you have the giant sound systems, blah, blah, blah. Just like, well, yeah, sure, fat boy, you can watch it on your laptop, you know, but, you know, can you get 3D glasses in the theatrical experience? You know what I mean? Like, they're in the business of not only enhancing the theatrical experience, but, you know, that's become the sell point. I mean, why are you going to buy a $13 ticket to see The Hobbit today instead of just downloading it off the internet and watching it at home? You know, what is that reason? And it's like, you know, for free. And it's like, well, you know, if I watch it at home, I don't get the glasses and the crowd and everyone, yay, Bilbo. You know, it's like, you know, so I think that, you know, they're increasingly going in that direction. It's like, why are all movies about explosions in 3D? It's just like, well, those are the movies that work best overseas and for theatrical.
Yeah. 3D spikes. Well, never mind.
Yeah, but I and that's not to say like everything. Obviously, you have something like Drive, but it's like, you know, what we're getting to is a place where theatrical, you know, a movie intended for a theatrical release needs to have a gotta see aspect, a wanna see aspect. Obviously, you look at Paranormal Activity, and $15,000, you know, to get it in the can. Obviously, not 3D, blah blah. You know, and you know, one could say that was a product of the marketing campaign, and one could say, why was Paranormal such a huge hit 10 years after Blair Witch? You know, it's like, why did it take that long just to do the exact same thing of like an ultra inexpensive found footage movie? You know, why did it take 10 years for us to do the exact same that's built on the back of like a brilliant marketing campaign? It's the exact same playbook, you know. I mean, but it's like, why weren't there all these found footage movies between Blair Witch and Paranormal? I don't know. It's like, it's a mystery of the universe. But regardless, they did that, and then we got that wave of found footage after that. But it's like, again, it's like, why does Paranormal make $135 million? There's no aliens or explosions. It's just like, there's a gotta see aspect to it. You know, so it's like, you know, it's
a cultural phenomenon more than anything.
Yeah, but
that's what I think a lot of the big blockbusters have going for them is that they're supposed to be these big cultural events, these water cooler events.
Right, yeah.
And as you're aware, a lot of the summer blockbusters this year have been tanking. R.I.P.D., After Earth, and a couple others.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's pointed this lecture that Spielberg and Lucas gave 2 months ago at USC, saying that this whole tentpole franchise mentality is going to sink and change the model of the industry forever.
Well, I think what we're getting at is a place where the studios are not dumb. They do this for a living. You know what I mean? It's like everything that happens in the film industry, there's a logical reason. Mm-hmm. You know, civilians piss and moan because they just don't understand. Yeah. You know, it's like there's the beat of the butterfly wings. Exists. So it's like. They're doing these things for a very specific reason. They're making these movies for a reason. And, what we're getting to is if you have films that are intended to get a theatrical release, then they are fitting the model of there is something to do on the weekend movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's where you get, very specific kind of, like genre horror. Mm-hmm. My most beloved of all genres. I'm a huge and unabated horror nerd from way back. And in fact, it was my intention of coming out here. I'm gonna be the horror guy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I'm still working on it. But it's that's why horror movies still do pretty well. It's like you do them for for not a whole lot of money, mm-hmm. so to maintain. Your exposure, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But then, there's the possibility that like Conjuring it makes like $41 million because it's like, they are, from the perspective of the distributors, they are an hour and a half long roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm. You go there, you scream with your friends. It's something that's fun to do. You leave. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel or cure cancer. It's like, they're scream machines, you know what I mean? And same thing with a comedy. It's like, you can turn on your TV and there's tons and tons of comedy, mm-hmm. But ironically enough, we've cycled back to a place where, what kind of comedies are still getting made? Well, they're like really broad, raunchy, R-rated comedies because there's like, that's the kind of comedy you can't get from television. Yeah. It's like, and that's how you get Ted and blah, blah. And ironically enough, that's like one of the few types of comedies that actually has a chance of traveling overseas a little bit. Because, you don't need to translate a fart or a conk on the head into French. You see what I mean? So it's like, that's why, like, really broad, raunchy, R-rated humor, can perform both domestically and overseas. Mm-hmm. Because comedy has actually become a very tough sell. Because, studios look at that, or the buyers as a whole look at that and go, well, 75% of your doors shut because we're really only going to be looking at the domestic market for the most part. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you've got a big star, if you got huge A-listy kind of people, then maybe it's going to travel. But, for the most part, you're looking for either something that's going to play domestic, mm-hmm. And that's where you get, like, say, a Melissa McCarthy type movie, where it's, it's broad, but it's still... it's not raunchy per se. Mm-hmm. It's like, but something like Bad Grandpa, it's coming up. Like Borat type movies. Mm-hmm. Ted is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. It's like again, these things happen for a reason, and it's like they're looking at the market and going, what can we sell? What can we sell?
So going back to your time as a development executive.
Okay, yeah. All right, I'm sorry. I'll tell you. No, it's really easy to just say, let's talk about movies, man.
Yeah, I know. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But like your time as a development executive, you're working in movies.
Yes.
And you're covering all these different bases. You're hustling directors and working on scripts.
Yes.
What parameters did you use to keep yourself focused so you're not just a dog chasing hubcaps?
Oh, you mean in terms of like trends and whatnot, or?
Yeah, trends, or because I've gone into pitches all the time, and I've had this happen a number of times where a friend of mine is like, we're looking for scripts about spiders or whatever.
Right.
And then by the time I come back with something, it's like, we're not interested anymore.
Yeah, we bought it last week. Yeah, it's like or
they didn't even buy anything.
Right, yeah. It's like, we don't like spiders anymore. It's like, I get that. I think, what you do is you look at, there's a reason why, ironically enough, the answer to that question is built in what we were just talking about. Is you don't look at the momentary thing; you look at the overall market or the business. What is the business doing? Not what one company is looking for the one time. In our case, it was sitting down and thinking, all right, well, there are companies with bigger credits and more money and better connection to stars. What do we have? And in the case, because we had a line on books, we had one foot in the book world. You know, it's like, you know, one thing that we have that a lot of other people don't is we have like tons of underlying property. And the studios had come to a place where if they were going to do like a larger type project, you know, summer type movie, in almost every case, they want to see a source and underlying property. You know, is it based on a book? Is it based on a comic book? XYZ. And I'm just like, wow. I instead of, you know, specs spec can still sell it, spec can still get made, but you know, the situations are becoming increasingly more narrow. You know, but you know, underlying property still remains. You know, and so it's like, you know, let's take a look at, you know, in some cases, what we started doing is looking at spec scripts that we knew couldn't move just as a spec because it's the exact kind of thing that they would want an underlying property to be in the mix. Okay. And it's like, well, this would be great. Oh, it's based on a book, right? Oh no, it's just a spec. In that case, let's not waste each other's time. But if there's a book, it's just like, call up the writer and go, hey man, you want to write a novel? I've never written a novel before. Well, neither has everybody in the entire world who's ever written a novel. It's it's like Ernest Hemingway didn't come out of the womb with a novel in his hand. There was a point in time when Ernest Hemingway had never written a novel. So now it's time for you to write your novel.
You know, I've met a lot of writers who have said, you know, I have this script, but also I have it written as a book too, in case. But I always thought that was like a backwards myth. But you're saying that that's actually true, that your company did that.
Yeah, I'll give you an extremely specific example. Yeah. We we signed this guy named Royce Beckingham. He's a lawyer in Seattle, and nicest dude on the planet, by the way. And he wrote a spec called Demon Keeper, and we signed that. I think we might have. Anyways, so he's got Demon Keeper, and at the time, we're talking about like 06, 07, I want to say, and everyone is starting to look around and go, shit, what's going to be the next Harry Potter? That was the big thing, was what's next Harry Potter? And the Demon Keeper was about this kid. He's an orphan. He inherits a big house. It's full of demons, but they're not like Satan demons. They're like gremlins. You know, I mean, they're mischievous, but you know, they got magical.
They're cute demons.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, they're like gremlins. They're some of them are mean, some are cute, But you know, whatever it is. So I'm like, aha! There it is. Next Harry Potter. Okay. It's Harry Potter with little cute demons, and so I start running around with that as a spec. And again, the execs were like, oh wow, yes, send that, yes, right now. Wait, it's based on a book, right? No, it's just a spec. Yeah, let's not waste each other's time. It would need to be a book. So, yeah, it's like call up Royce and go, hey, man, write a book. So he did. Wrote a book. And then we sold it. And we got a 1 column inch mention in Publishers Weekly. 1 column inch. And the phones lit up.
Wow.
The phones called all day, and by the end of the week, we had that set up at Bucks 2000.
Wow.
The project that I could not even get people to read had become sold because, again, it's like the cake that you try to bake without the yeast. There's the one ingredient is gone, you don't got a cake. See what I mean? So I set that up, and now, ironically enough, book comes out, and the numbers are good, but they're not.
Which publisher released it?
Penguin.
Okay.
And but they're good, but not super good. They're not
Harry Potter good.
Yeah, and see the reason there are 2 reasons to have an underlying property, and one of them is to kind of act as a proof of concept. You know, there's some, you know, the more that you have to explain any project to anybody, the less the chance that you're going to sell it. That's the value of high concept. If I can go, yeah, it's this with dogs, and you go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I totally get that. And it's like, but and that's why and people cry and moan about high concept. But just like high concept is inherent to every level of marketing, and just inside sales of the film industry are just no different.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, they're gonna have to put that on. They're gonna have to sell the entire idea of that movie on a poster. And it's just like, if you don't have a high concept, just like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of pictures of stuff. I'm looking at someone's scrapbook. Who cares? I don't get it. I'm not gonna go see it. And so, anyways, but in the case of and that's one of the values of underlying property. The other one is to fit that model. It's just like, that's why Demon Keeper didn't get made into a movie, but Hunger Games did. It's just like, oh, that's our next Harry Potter. It wasn't that it was going to be about magic. It was still a young adult book series, which with a huge reader base who are going to show up to the theater. So it's like, oh, okay. So anyways, but on the upside, the irony is Royce, who had never written a novel, is now like a full-time novelist. Like, wow. He's written like 6, 7, 8 books. Like, he's like Demon Keeper
since 07.
Yeah, Demon Keeper is like huge in Germany, and like and he's got like he's just started like another franchise. He's publishing like all over the place. The dude just sits around and cracks out books all day. So it's like, if it weren't, if we had set up that spec thing, Royce might have never written a novel, and he never would have become this novelist guy. So these are the kooky pathways that life will take you.
Is that your proudest accomplishment?
No, well, I that's one of them, because and again, it's kind of like, it's like anything. You root for the good guys, and Royce is like one of those. It's like, you definitely want to Royce, go get him. It's a But similarly, we had a project called Dracula the Undead.
Okay.
And that was again, it was kind of a project that started as like kind of a film project, and involved a dude named Ian Holt, who's like
why does that name sound familiar?
He's like one of the premier Dracula scholars on the planet. So if you vampire Dracula anything, the dude's name is going to pop up. He's I in the course of working on Dracula and the Undead, I absorbed a lot of Dracula knowledge. But anyways, we tried to do pretty much the same thing, where like at first it was we're kind of off Demon Keeper. It was like we'd actually gotten like some real traction on the film side. Like for a while we were working with Jan de Bont and Ernest Dickerson, and it was always like we could get like kind of a package together, but never quite a movie. Again, it's like, oh boy, Dracula, get what that movie is. Horror, yes, totally love horror. But it was the official sequel to Bram Stoker's Dracula, so it was period. And official because it had the blessing of the Stoker family, because Ian was friends with Stoker family. So anyways, time to write a book. Because it worked for Demon Keeper, and also because, if Dracula started as a book, became movies, again, it's like the Harry Potter thing. Started as a book. All right, got to start as a book. So, I did a book with Dacre Stoker, the great-great-great-great-great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker.
Wow.
And that sold, the book sold for like $1 million something. And so it was a huge sale. And again, it didn't immediately spark the movie, which because we figured that would be like, aha, the phones will light up, and they just kind of didn't. And so I started calling around. I started getting on the phone, and if you ever want to find out who has a vampire project, or even specifically a Dracula project, what you do is get one of your own and call around and go, hey, I've got a Dracula project. Yeah, we're already doing vampires. We got something on our slate. Hey, I got a Dracula project. Yeah, so do we. It's like, and call and call and call. And don't get me wrong. That doesn't say that movie can't happen. It's like, because it's still available. It's still out there. And it's like, in a book, Yeah, so it's like and again, it's like one of those. So I bring up Dracula because again, it's like Ian's a great guy, Dick is a nice guy, so it's like you're kind of rooting for the good guys to win. It's like because these dudes work hard. You know what I mean? It's like they don't just kind of nibble at something and go, well, you're the rep, go sell something. You're a producer, go make my dreams come true. Like these guys, these are examples of people who roll up their sleeves. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's like, the market forces are telling us this. All right, well, that's cool. And it's like, and some writers are, will cling to their squeaking little egos, their visions, and go, well, that's not my vision of the film. And it's like, well, your vision of the film is 156K on your laptop. So, and that's how it's going to stay until you get a little more flexible in terms of, what the market does. But it's like, again, it's like, you decide what beats you. You decide what you're going to do to move things forward. But it's like, we had another project called Three Men Seeking Monsters that we set up at Universal, and that one was a magazine article I found. Have you ever read 40 in Times?
No, I haven't.
No, it's a British like paranormal magazine, like UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptozoology, blah blah blah, and I love it. I was reading it when there was a chapter excerpt. This guy named Nick Redfern. He had written the from a non-fiction book of Nick Redfern's adventures with him and two other friends who were like into cryptozoology, and they get into a van. Nick is about to get married and move to America, and him and his two friends, they sit down and go, normal people have a bachelor party. Drunk, stripper, la la la. But we're not normal. We're weird. We're weirdos. We're three weirder guys. So we gotta do something weird. So they rent an RV and they drive from the southern tip of England to the northern tip of England. And they go like, we've spent our whole lives searching for monsters. We're gonna give it one last shot before Nick moves to Texas. We're gonna go one last shot. We're gonna every fucking corner of this island, and if there's a monster, we're gonna find it. And results may vary, but obviously it's like that that's a high concept setup. So it's like we set that up at Universal, and obviously in the film it was going to be of course there's going to be tons of monsters who want to save the world and blah blah, and for a while we were working with John Heder and his brothers. They were going to be John was going to be one of the guys in the van, and
that would be cool.
Yeah, and it's like we're thinking about it would be cool if it was like Ricky Gervais and John Heder and one other guy, and so, that's going to be the movie, and in an RV, and eek a monster, and Mark Steven Johnson was going to direct, and and it looked like it was going to come together, man. But what happened was Paul came out, and and it's like, oh, it's two British guys in an RV looking for aliens. And it underperformed, and it was like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So, again, that's still out there, but it's like, when you get like a situation like that, it happens. And again, you go, well, okay, maybe not today, but maybe years from now we'll pick the pieces back up, make that movie. But meanwhile, just move on. It's like, you can't, you put tons of work in these things, and like the least little blow of the wind, and that's it, and go, what are you gonna do, man? But same thing. So you adopt the qualities of infinite flexibility and regeneration. So yes. Okay.
Wow, and then you left. About after 7 years, you left Ashetti?
Yeah, I found I was kind of getting to a place where I was starting to think about it anyways. Variety of reasons. But long story short, found a guy named Alex Drummond, and we had actually signed him off of some other script, and we were working on that, and it was kind of And Alex is kind of he's an idea machine. The dude he falls out of bed. He's got a high concept idea, and it's he had one an old script that he had actually shopped around a little bit and didn't get any traction on. And I'm just like, well, let's dig that out. Let's take a look at it. It was called I forgot what it was called back in the day, but we changed the title to "You're Dead Meat Poplowski," and it's about three guys. They're losers in their 30s, and they're sitting in the bar. Their lives aren't going anywhere, and they're watching the TV, and they see FBI's Most Wanted is $1 million reward for this guy. He's the worst dude ever, and it turns out that this guy was a kid who bullied them when they were young.
Oh. That's ultimate Schadenfreude.
Yeah, and but no, it's it's obvious. This guy was such a horrible guy that of course he would grow up to be a career criminal and at the top of the FBI's Most Wanted list with $1 million price on his head. And then they started thinking, it was actually the reasons that they are losers is because this guy stomped on their self-esteem so much that they grew up and they're in terrible marriages and a lot of this everything else, and it's and they kind of look at each other and go, you know what? Let's become bounty hunters and go get that guy. And even though there are other pro bounty hunters out there who are a lot tougher and they got reality shows and all that good jazz, but they grew up with this kid. They know shit that the pros don't. You know what I mean? And maybe so it's and we developed that, and we got to a place where bro, I'm oh my god, I was so excited. I'm oh, we are gonna hit this out of the park, man. This is a fastball down the middle. Is exactly what we're looking for. It was on the heels of Hangover had just come out.
Okay.
So it's just three guys getting a kooky adventure. Fuck yes, this is a Robin Hood arrow split bullseye project. We're gonna do this one. And bosses didn't agree. And they actually told me, you know what, just drop them. They didn't get
drop the writer
entirely? Yeah, it was
it's
why are you wasting time on this? These stupid movies. Well, you know what? You have my 2 weeks.
And you just said it in the room like that.
No, I walked around the block first to kind of to figure it out, and it's I kind of came in. I'm just I think you got my 2 weeks. And yeah. Left, and I started Samurai MK, which is my company now. Sat down with Alex. I'm hey, I just quit my job of 7 years over you. Can we work together? I immediately polished it up, took it wide in February of 10, I want to say. And huge hit. It was ended up on all these lists. Everyone's reading it. People I'd never met before. I was every contact I could think of. I was calling even companies that didn't even make sense for it. I'm just I know you guys have never done a comedy, an action comedy, but it's such a huge concept that's it's the kind of script that if you're an exec, it's even if it's not for us, I should at least have been the person to have read that. I can't have someone walk in and go, "Hey, have you read Poplowski?" Nah. It's huge heat, and I took it into Warner, and kind of got to the 1 yard line, and just kind of didn't quite go.
Didn't go as in didn't get a sale or didn't
get set up. And lots of meetings for Alex, and it was a great way to kind of to introduce me as hey, here's my flag, here's my shingle, I exist. It was a great way to kind of announce to the world that hey, this is what we're doing. And Poplowski is still out there, and again, rooting for the good guys. That could have a lot of people would be crushed by that. Oh, we got so close and it didn't happen, and now I'm gonna go back to New Jersey and cry in my suit. It's but Alex is just screw it. He wrote another script, something tiny or micro budget, I should say, and and this one he was just because Alex had learned also that the smaller the budget, the less you have to ask other people to please, will you make my movie for me? Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing is like with Poplowski, it was like a year of please buy this script, please make this movie, mm-hmm. and he was just like, I'm here to make movies. I'm not here to, it's like it would be nice if we did Poplowski, but it's like in the meanwhile, let's just do a micro budget horror comedy. Mm-hmm. So it's like shot The Shower in November of 12. Mm-hmm. Took it to the AFM, got some reaction from the distributors, which is ironically enough, it's the exact same thing as like taking a script out and getting a reaction from the executives. Except in this case, now you actually have like hundreds of hours of effort plus money has been spent to make this. It's like I love it when writers cry when no one buys their screenplays. It's like an unsold screenplay is nothing compared to an unreleased movie in terms of like So it's like I got response from distribution, mm-hmm. And then he took those notes, did reshoots, reshot some more stuff, blah blah, recutting it, and we're kind of closing in on a really strong little movie, man. Okay. So it's like I think next step is to submit it to Screamfest, and probably go back to AFM with it. This time, bigger and stronger, Mm-hmm. But there it is. Again, it's like I score one for the good guys, But,
you have a finished movie in the can. That's no small fair. That's good. That's a good feather in your cap. That's a lot. That's more than a lot of people have.
Well, it's funny because I after kicking it's funny when I started Samurai, I took like a bunch of generals and coffee meetings with just a lot of people that I just knew around town. I'm just like hey, I just want to sit down and let you know that I've got my own company. This is what I'm doing. You've probably read Poplowski, it's like, and it was funny because everybody, 100% of the people I talked to, were always like, it's going to suck for about 2 or 3 years. It's going to take you about 2 or 3 years to get the traction underneath you. It's like it would have been this wonderful magical thing if lightning had struck on Poplowski, and it really looked like it was going to happen, and still might for that project, mm-hmm. But. If there's a value to that he, kind of, give you a chance to kind of announce yourself. But be that as it may, don't think that the rules don't apply to you, just because. It's the exact same thing as when I got here. I'm just like, hooray, I'm going to get an agent and everything else. It was a repeat of that entire thing. It's like, it's like, rah, I'm going to beat the system. And it's like, no, and the system goes, no. no, rules still apply, man. So it's like, after... kicking and scratching, I had a project called Freezer, mm-hmm. that was coming together, that we actually shot in February of 13. Mm-hmm. And Alex was like, I want to make the Shower before Freezer. I want my project to be mm-hmm. Samurai's first. Uh-huh. And I'm like, that's mighty cool of you, man. So it was motivated by that, and also the fact that it stars his wife, Rachel Drummond, she's huge in commercials. She does mm-hmm. commercials all the time, and she's improv and all that, and super talented XYZ. Okay. And she was pregnant at the time, and it's a horror movie that takes place at a baby shower. So it's like, so it's like, hey, while she's pregnant, mm-hmm. Let's just run into production and shoot this while she's just kind of pregnant, and hey, pregnant lady starring in the movie about the baby shower.
Okay.
Hence The Shower. Oops, guess what? A couple of weeks into production, she went into labor.
Oh wow.
Yes. And it was, I think I was plundering craft service for a bagel, and I just kind of looked up with this bagel in my mouth, and Alex was like, "Yeah, we're going to the hospital. See you around, man." So it's like,
crap.
So fine. Even when you get a film in a production, uh-huh. even after fighting, kicking and biting for years, you finally get a film into production, and it's like, even in the midst of it, it's like, oh, the gods of Hollywood have not done toying with us. But again. You take a negative, you turn it into a positive, mm-hmm. because it took a break for a couple of weeks, and again, here's my mantra: does this beat us? Does it beat us?
Mm-hmm.
Does it beat us? And it's like, no, it doesn't. And so Alex got the band back together. And shot the rest of it, and got that first draft of it in the can. So it's, again, it's nothing but hustle. It's nothing but work. It's nothing but survival. Just kicking and scratching and biting and fighting.
That brings me to another important question, which is you said earlier, if you're a writer, you just write all day. If you're a director, you have to wait to direct. But if you're a producer, what do you do all day if you're a producer and you're not getting paid to produce yet?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, in the case of, I don't know, I still get by. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all just writing and trying to pull projects together. I do screenplays. Screenplay contests, I mean. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, I buy screenplay contests. Let me back up just a little bit here.
Okay.
There are, unfortunately, a lot of nutcases in the world, and a lot of them write screenplays.
Yes.
And for 7 years, I was the development guy at a small shop where it's the kind of thing where phone rings, you grab it. There's no walls, there's no phalanx of assistants around you. It's like it's kind of you in the street. You know what I mean? So it's like for 7 years, and because the company started with an A, in kind of the exact same way that I went through the Hollywood Creative Directory and I sent out my faxes. Other people were buying the Hollywood Creative Directory too, and oftentimes would be the first company that they were going to call. 7 years, people, hi, I've got an idea for a reality show, or hey man, what's up? Nothing. What can I do for you? Yeah, well, I got a screenplay. I'm just like, well, I sent a query letter. Yeah, well, fuck you. Click, it's like Hollywood ass motherfucker. It's like because it's to the civilians in their head, you're like the snarky guy with the headset, and it's just like they're gonna beat you, they're gonna get around you. I'm just like, dude, I'm the guy who's gonna sign you stupid ass. It's like, but they didn't know. But it's like, after 7 years of absorbing that, it's like no more. It's like, all right, well, I said start my own company. I'm like, all right, well, I gotta find new material. How am I gonna do it? And they're like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work with screenplay contests. And I'm gonna kind of noodle around in the shadows. That's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna, by reading the screenplays before everybody else on the one A, I can read people's stuff without actually having to talk to them and request it. You know what I mean? And also B, I have the opportunity to maybe get my evil talents into stuff before it goes farther. You know what I mean? It's like, because if someone wins a big screenplay contest, then suddenly it's meetings and everyone's chasing them, and my hope is that I can finagle them before that occurs. It's just like, aha, I've got that. And it's like, it's funny. Like I've unfortunately actually passed on a couple of things that actually caught some heat, and that's just lesson learned. It's just like on the one hand, I've been burned by going too fast and grabbing something that didn't work out. On the other hand, it's like you can't be too hesitant either. If you've got that tingle in your gut, you just gotta go grab it. It's like Freezer is a perfect example. It's like, they actually queried me cold. They just sent me an email out of nowhere. It was like, oh yeah, and it's like cold query. I was like, they're in Canada, so it showed up in my inbox. So like, it was like 10:30 at night. I was catching up on my email. I'm just like, yeah, sure, send it along. And I got up to about page 50. I'm just like, yeah, it was a movie. I finished it before reaching out to them, but it's just like it was, oh my god, yes, this is such a movie. So so it was a year and a half, 2 years of survival, and then shower and freezer, boom boom, right on top of each other. Shower in November, freezer in February, and so now we're both in post. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a situation for both. So, and in the meanwhile, working on the next set of things, writing and producing
Are there trailers up online for both projects yet?
There's one I saw floating around for Freezer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like wide release, but like Peter Facinelli, who's one of the co-stars of it, he's been putting stuff up on his website. One of the two writers, Shane Weisfeld and Tom DeGanaglu. Shane is very good about finding stuff online. Like any little mention about Freezer, like he'll dig it up somewhere, and it's like so. He's just like, hey, look, we got a trailer up. It's like so. It's there's a trailer, there's a poster. We had a trailer for Shower, but it was only on the official website because we're still crowdsourcing the post production.
Okay.
And we actually just did able to get that money together just a couple of weeks ago. So it's like cooking along, and it's still like very much a living document. It's still like an active process moving forward.
I'm sorry, you got the money together from
crowdsourcing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, but dude, it's like that's the magic of where we're at. Is in times past, you couldn't. I think I once heard a story that Aronofsky got the money for Pi by like asking everybody he knew for $50. Or something like that. I might be wrong. I've never talked to the guy. But it's like I think I read something somewhere that said something like that. It's like, but it's like just in terms of like crowdsourcing, that didn't exist 10 years ago. That didn't exist ever. It's like you always had to go to an institution, and in some cases it's still like a little bit easier to go to an institution. Especially if you're looking for, that's kind of the thing, is if you're working on a project, you actually do like kind of have to sit down and go, where in the world does this live? Because if it has to be an expensive movie, if it involves aliens and robots and whatnot, then what you need to do is to look at what do the buyers, what do the companies that make that kind of movie want, what are they looking for. A lot of times it's an underlying property, XYZ. Just writing a $200 million fantasy spec is as close to a waste of time as possible. It's like but if you're sitting there and you write a script and you go, it's like 3 characters, contained location, do we need someone to buy this? Or can we just grab a camera and shoot it? It's like, and that we've reached a level of a democratization of the film process that hasn't perhaps ever. It might have existed in like 1929. But it's like with rare exception. It's like we've gotten to a place where you can just kind of bang something out. And it's like, and again, we're circling back to when I was talking about the more you have to explain, the less of the chance that you're going to get some reality out of it. There's no explanation to a shot feature film. It's done. The explanation is watching it. You see what I mean? Yeah. It's like, like a spec screenplay is vulnerable to all kinds of horrible things to happen to it because you have to explain it. You have to explain, read it. First you have to pitch it, then they have to read it and figure out, who's going to star in this, who's going to direct it, how we're going to find financing, It's like, a feature film is at the other end of that. There's no explanation necessary. So it's like, that doesn't guarantee distribution or reality. It's like, but in some ways it does. Because if you shoot a feature film and like no one distributes it for you, you can still start a website and put the whole thing up there. You could put it on YouTube. There's still a way that you can show it to other people that you've never met.
There's some guys in England, they started something called the Underwater Kingdom, and that's exactly what they did. They shot 2 feature films, they just put them up on YouTube, and now each one has gotten millions of hits, and I don't know what's up next for them, but apparently they're doing more films and getting paid to do them. Yeah,
exactly. And that's kind of the thing, is like reality trumps dream. If the reality is built on a dream, then it's the best of both worlds. It's like we've never. It's like I am convinced that the next thing we will see is the theatrically released feature film that was shot on an iPhone. Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that happening.
Because we're reaching a level of technology, the democratization of technology, where just like, you know, in times past, you know, this big crew and all this equipment, millions of dollars of equipment, movie stars, XYZ, and you can just be a dude. The irony, of course, is we've come all the way around. If I'd stay in Chicago, I would finally be filmmaker. It's like you could be a dude in Chicago and just be like, well, hey, want to make a movie?
And that's all, folks. Many thanks to my guest, Michael Kuciak, for a terrific interview. Check out the trailers for his upcoming films by visiting the links for this episode on our website. Our banner image this week is by myself. Our music this week is by Producers Lounge fan Leslie Ann Snipes. Please check out our website at lasnipesproductions.com. We're starting to grow our Producers Lounge community, so if you'd like to submit either jazz music or banner photos for an episode, post a link on our Facebook page. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/theproducerslounge. Remember, you show your support for films by not downloading them, you show your support on Hulu by clicking on the commercials, and you show your support for podcasts by liking and commenting. And you can always check out our website, www.theproducersloungepodcast.com. Thank you again. I'm your host, Richard Tucci. Join us next week for more cocktails and questions, and until then, keep producing dreams.